What I'd like to talk to you today about is the version 2 of the Lee & Paul Hemogorget. This is a new piece of kit that I just purchased from Lee & Paul. And it literally just came in today. I was not expecting it to come in today, but it did. So I thought I would quickly put together a video to show off this new gorget. If it looks familiar, it should. It's simply a major modification of what was originally there. This should look very familiar if you've seen the V1 version of the Hemogorget from Lee & Paul. All this is identical to what they had before. Had the two straps with the Velcro, and it could fit on just like this. In fact, you could still wear this one just like the V1 was, and it still has all that nice flexure in there, so that's all there. And that is still the same as the original V1. That's all nicely articulated here between these plates. Has this nice sternal protection here, a little bit of clavicle protection here. This goes down nicely onto the sternal area here. So it's really nice. It's good, flexible in its articulation. So as you can see when I wear it, that just moves really, really nicely there. So this is basically the same exact piece as their V1 gorget. What's different in the V2 version of the gorget is this piece. This is the back of neck protection that they've added to the V2. It has slight articulation, as you can see there. It has a protection not only for the cervical, but also the first thoracic vertebrae are now protected with this plate. The gorget has a rubber edge around here and around here, which you can see very nicely. Also, it's padded underneath here, so that if this is against your skin, you're not got hard plastic pressing up against here. It has a little bit of compression foam in there, which is really nice. Same with the back piece of this. The one thing I am not real happy about, but it's not a huge deal, and Lee & Paul states this very clearly, that these rivets that are in place here are not stainless steel or anything like that. They're just steel rivets. So this has to be maintained on a regular basis, in that you have to make sure it's kept clean and all that stuff. Not that you wouldn't normally, but now you have to do some rivet maintenance to make sure that these don't rust out and things along those lines. That's kind of a downside a little bit, that they didn't use a little bit higher quality rivets, something stainless steel or something like that, so that these would have less chance of rusting. But again, it's a minor quibble for this gorget. But considering the price, yeah, maybe they should have put a little bit more into that hardware. Anyways, so how does this all fit together? It just straps to the back piece like that. The back piece fits inside the front, like so. That fits inside there and wraps around there. And that becomes the entire system, this new gorget system that Lee & Paul has produced. Now, I'm just going to get this out of the way because I notice this, and anyone else who sees this is going to notice this. If this looks like a certain piece of hardware from a certain space saga worn by a certain space villain, yeah, it's the same thing I thought when I saw this thing. This looks exactly like a piece of kit that that certain space villain would be wearing. So yeah, that was my first impression when I saw this thing. I went, okay. Anyways, so as I said, this has really nice articulation here in the front, has a little bit of articulation in the back, and even this part has some movement in there a little bit. There is some gapping in here that some people have been concerned about, and they've said that maybe you should put a piece of fabric on the inside to help protect a little bit. I'm not concerned about this because this is going to be underneath a jacket, or it's underneath the hood that I wear. So I'm not concerned about this articulation and any blades getting in there, but there is the gap there. But that gap, you're going to have a gap there because you have to have this articulation in place. So that doesn't concern me for blades breaking and things like that and possibly getting in underneath this. I don't see that as an issue with this gorget. So how well does this fit when it's just put straight on? So we put this on, this fits underneath. This Velcros to the back. And as you can see, it's very flexible. It moves really well with my head. Now this does pop up a little bit off the chest when I push my head back. But again, I'm not worried about that. This will be underneath something that will weigh it down a little bit. So it should stay where it needs to stay. But again, as you can see, it's very flexible. It works really well in the back and on the sides. And I can turn my neck very well inside of this. So on first impressions of just starting to wear this thing, I'm very happy with this. I haven't had a chance to train in it yet. I haven't had a chance to take this to events and wear this thing all day long and put hours of use at one time in this yet. But I think it's going to be okay once I've actually had some time to train with it, when I've had some chances to go and event with this piece of kit in place. I'll make another video and we'll discuss my feelings on this. But first impressions are really very good with this. I'm very happy with how this works. So let's talk about how this fits underneath a piece of kit. Now, my kit is an older kit. It's not new kit. So this was designed long before these new pieces of HEMA gear. But this is a well-loved, well-worn jacket. And so this is the kit that I wear. This is the kit that's going to be worn with this. Like I say, it's not the modern jackets. It's a well-loved, well-worn jacket that I'm very comfortable in. I like defense in this. Now you'll notice, of course, that immediately that there is a bit of an issue, which is visible, that this pops loose here. Again, this jacket was never designed for this piece of kit in modern HEMA stuff. So it does have that little bit of a problem, but again, that's just because of the nature of the age of the jacket. It's not a nature of this piece. Again, this is fitting really comfortably. I've got good movement in here. I'm very happy with this. Again, everything still works really well. I'm able to move my neck where I need to. I can lift up, and there's still the protection here and down here. So that works. Next, the hood. Yes, I wear a hood. I took and stripped the suspension system out of my mask because it was making me claustrophobic in there. I didn't like the suspension system, so I went with a basic hood. And again, I may end up wearing this outside with this over the top, just to see how that works. But this was basically how I will set this up. Hood on, this over the top, that goes like that. Grab the mask. Again, still everything's good. You put the mask on, set the strap in the back, make sure that's all good. Make sure all the stuff and everything sits across the back just the way it should. And there we go. So I'm now fully kitted out the way I would normally be, and I've got good flexibility. I mean, I'm very happy with that. I can rotate my head like this. All that works really well. You can see side to side, front to back. When I lift up, the bib comes up a little bit, but there's a nice protection in here. The plates underneath here have risen up with my chin. They go back down with my chin, so I am continually protected. There's that little lip that we saw there, which helps with the blade catch underneath all this. Really nice, very comfortable, good head movement here. There's, you can see the plate that sits in the back right here on the hood. But again, all that sits nicely, no real lifting of the hood here. And even if the hood were to come back up, there is protection back here. So all that sits where it should. All this looks really good. So yeah, I can go and sit, I can rotate in my gear, I can feel comfortable and protected. And actually this is a little nicer protection than what I had before, because my other gear was, my gorget was a little bit lower than this, so there was definitely always a gap in there that I didn't like. This provides me a little extra level of protection in there. And if I get into a fencing stance and in position, again, nice, I can rotate in here. I don't feel real constricted by the gorget. The head's rotating in here. So yeah, this works really well. I'm on first use of this gorget. Again, I haven't had a chance to train in it. I haven't had a chance to go and put it through long hours of fencing yet. That is the plan, but and I will create a second video once I've actually put this through, you know, hours of training, hours of hard fencing, and see how this works and see how this, you know, actually behaves in real world normal use. But from what I am experiencing right now on just first use, I'm very happy with this Lee & Paul purchase. I think it's a good piece of kit, and I think I'm going to be that much safer in it. Like I say, I like this little bit of blade catch underneath here. And again, it flexes with my neck. So yes, first use of this new HEMA gorget from Lee & Paul, the V2 version. I give it a good review at this point. But I say, once I put it to full use, I'll give another review, and we'll talk a little bit about how this is handled in the day-to-day. Thank you very much for watching.